That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us.
Around for whatever we're supposed to be doing.
The thing is, this whole sacrifice thing, this giving up something, it's all optional.
Right.
There's nothing, you don't have to do it.
Right.
There's nothing. Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts. I'm Peter Billman.
And I'm Cecil Davis.
And we're just trying to have a conversation without using Google or fact-checking things online. Those things can so easily kill the conversation. Speaking of killing the conversation, how are you doing, Cecil?
I'm doing great.
You just came off of a pretty good cold. I hadn't seen you that sick in a really long time. How you sounded?
Doing much better.
You have your kind of voice has kind of changed. You've kind of got this deep radio voice. Breaker 19.
I know, podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it'll stick around.
I had the same thing. I had a frog in my throat, and I was on a conference call with people that knew me from Sweden. And I got on the phone, and there are other people in the room with me. And throughout the conversation, we got 5 minutes into it, kind of chit-chat, how's the weather?
Right.
Someone finally asked, where's Peter, and who's this other person in the room with us?
Who's the guy with the deep voice?
It was me. I had this, this cold, and it just completely changed my voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm past the cold, but my cough hangs on.
So if you hear any little crunching sounds in the microphone,
sorry about that.
He's chomping on some cough drops here, but you seem to be doing all right.
We don't have a cough button on our mixer. We need to have a cough button.
What's a cough button?
That's where if you feel like you can cough, it'll cut the mic out for a second.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we need to get one of those.
How about, or you could just edit it out.
Edit it out, right? All right, you got a topic today.
Oh man, so today, this is the Saturday after Ash Wednesday.
Yes.
And this started the 40 days of Lent.
What's the 40 days of Lent?
Are you familiar with Lent?
I am familiar with Lent.
So Lent is
You and I are both believers and elders.
So 40 days, yeah, but our tradition doesn't celebrate Lent, right?
And my tradition growing up did not celebrate.
Right, so the Lent tradition really comes from the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. And when the Protestants broke off, they really didn't continue with Lent, but we still recognize the calendar, the church calendar, in our church, and some of us like to observe Lent. So it's 40 days of reflection that leads up to Easter.
Okay, and it starts with Fat Tuesday.
Well, really, Lent starts with
it
starts with Ash Wednesday. That's when it starts, but that's what Fat Tuesday is. You're kind of indulging in a bunch of things because you're about to give something up.
So
for Lent.
Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so everybody's celebrating Fat Tuesday on Mardi Gras.
That's right.
And is Carnival in Rio also
That's
Fat
all
Tuesday?
part of that?
Also, so that's all celebrations prior to
the 40
Ash
days.
Wednesday.
The 40 days of contemplation parallels the 40 days and 40 nights Jesus was in the desert. Okay, and tradition says you give up you give up something. You fast from different foods and festivities. You spend more time praying. You spend more time giving and serving the poor. But the popular thing is to give up something, and even more popular thing is, you probably have heard this, is that you don't eat meat. Though, so the Orthodox Church would give up meat.
Really?
For that 40 days. The Catholic Church gave up meat on Fridays.
That's why they eat seafood on Friday.
But fish doesn't count as meat. And so that's why during Lent, this time of year, there's a lot of Filet-O-Fish commercials from McDonald's.
Really?
Have you ever noticed that?
I've never noticed that.
And there's Filet-O-Fish. All the restaurants really pump up the fish.
Huh. So Lent is 40 days of contemplation.
Right.
So if you don't know the Bible, Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert.
Right.
That's when he was tempted by the devil. Fasting.
That's right. He was also fasting.
Right.
So we use that 40 days to commemorate that and to get us ready for Easter. Easter is the big deal. We'll have another episode about Easter later on in the closer to the end of March, because Easter, I think, is the last weekend in March. But anyway, so when you think about giving up things, it's a hard thing to do. Have you ever given up something for Lent?
I have not.
You've never done this?
I have never done this.
Why not?
Well, tell me what your topic is first, and then I'll come back to. Or do you want to hear first?
No, I just want to hear first, because the topic is ways to get around Lent.
Really?
Yes.
Ways people get around Lent.
Yes. There's two distinct ways people have gotten around, especially the fasting and abstaining from eating meat.
Leave it to Christians to figure out a way to get around.
I'm telling you, it was actually monks of all people. That's what don't sound right.
Okay, I will tell you. This is for the record, so it can be used against me in session.
Sure.
All right. First of all, I grew up Southern Baptist.
There you go.
And so I don't remember anybody. I don't remember talking about Lent.
Me neither.
Much less giving up something for Lent.
Right.
But then in my 20 years ago, I moved to the Presbyterian Church, and this has become more of a thing even in our church.
Yeah, right.
Maybe 10 years or something.
I would say about the same thing 10 years ago.
But then I began to hear people giving up things for Lent. Now, this is my opinion only.
Go for it.
I do not mean to offend anyone. This is just me.
Here we go.
Okay. I do not give up things for Lent because I think it's out of proportion with the sacrifice of Christ.
It's out of proportion.
Well, everything's out of proportion with the sacrifice of Christ.
Right.
So for me to say I'm giving up chocolate for Lent, I think somebody who does it probably says that this is them sacrificing something they love to make them focus more on prayer and service and giving, right?
Okay.
For me, the way I see it, I cannot emphasize this enough, is that would be a trivial thing for me to give up in comparison to what Christ gave up.
Sure.
That even do it for me, doing it in commemoration, to me feels like I'm doing something trivial.
Right.
Now, I think it driving you toward better things is great, but I just can't, in my mind, I can't quite make that leap. So that's why I don't do it.
I got you. So the reason I do it is not as a commemoration. It's not even as a sacrifice that I'm offering. It's not to gain favor.
Right.
It is literally to help me remember what's about to happen, what we're gonna celebrate. And really, I've done different things. I've given up things, and I've tried to adopt new things. I've added things.
Yeah.
So one year I gave up speeding.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was the speed limit.
Were you hypermiling at the same time? Did you combine two things?
No. I was just, and let me tell you, you want to talk about suffering.
Really?
It is hard not to go 5 miles over the speed limit because everyone does it. And it's not a peer pressure thing. You literally think you're going to get run over.
So did that encourage you toward prayer? I guess it probably did.
It did. Every time the cars are whizzing back by me at 15 miles an hour faster than I'm driving, thinking, why am I doing this? This is why I'm doing this. Right. Yeah. Now my kids drove them nuts because they're used to being in the car with dad and ain't nobody passing us.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, Dad, we're never going to get there. I think we had, one of the years I gave it up, speeding, we were driving to Richmond to go visit Emily's college. Yeah, that was painful. So anyway, that's one thing.
Did it give you opportunity to talk to your kids about Lent?
Oh yeah, sure did. Huh? Why are you doing this, Dad? Well, I described why.
Cool.
So one of the things I'm doing now, this particular one, is I don't put sugar in my coffee.
Okay.
Something that's simple. I really love it. But it's just it's an easy reminder as I'm drinking this bitter coffee.
Right.
No other symbolism, just to remember what's coming up. Easter is coming up.
I commend you in this.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm adding.
I encourage you in this.
Thank you. And the other thing I'm adding is I'm listening to a book on tape about book on tape.
You got your cassette tape out, did you?
A book on 8-track.
You gave up technology for
listening to an audio book even though I'm still on. Yeah, I'm gonna listening on audiobook about the ordinary liturgies of the day. That's so I'm just adding that in. So
You're
anyway.
a good elder, Peter.
Oh well, don't be impressed. Yeah. I'm just trying something new to help me.
Good.
To help me remember. But it brought up this conversation I had with a German friend.
All right.
So we were talking about the food of Germany.
Okay.
And how, not necessarily known for its food, Germany is, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I've never been.
You got schnitzel.
Right.
Schnitzel's fantastic. But there's one food called Maltaschen. Mm-hmm. Maltaschen. All right. So its literal translation is either mouth pockets or mouth bags.
Really?
Yeah. But it's basically ravioli.
Okay.
All right. It's a pasta. It's filled with meat and cheese or something. All right. There's another word for it. And now I'm going to tell you the word. I'm going to try to pronounce it in German. And if I pronounce it slightly wrong, it's a vulgar curse word at the end of it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not saying that word. Okay. All right.
I wouldn't know anyway.
So yeah. So the word is.
Say it right, Peter.
Hergatsbishyshella.
Okay.
Hergatsbishyshella. Okay.
Hopefully that was right.
So the little translation is God cheater. The longer name of it is God cheating noodle.
Really?
Right. And the reason it's called a God cheating noodle is that during Lent, the monks would put meat in it.
Mm-hmm. In the noodle.
In the noodle. And the idea was, you can't see it,
right?
But you're getting your meat.
So God couldn't see inside the noodle, evidently.
Evidently, God couldn't see inside the noodle. And I just thought, I said, that don't sound right.
Right.
Is that legit? Is that true?
Is it legit?
It's legit. Monks did it, 17th century monks.
To get around not eating meat during Lent.
Right. They would put meat in what was called Maltaschen.
Uh-huh.
And Maltaschen's very good, actually.
Wow.
It's usually sauteed in butter. Oh, it's so good.
That's a lot of work to get around not eating meat.
It is.
I would think.
The other workaround. The other workaround is that aquatic mammals were considered fish. Were deemed fish.
So now you can eat what?
Beaver.
Oh.
Otters.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know about otters, but definitely it's the beaver.
Right.
That beaver was considered a fish. So you could eat beaver on Fridays.
Nice.
Because it was considered a fish. But I imagine anything like a muskrat would be okay. I would think an otter. Any other aquatic?
Sounds like,
other aquatic mammals that we're dealing with there?
That's what I was trying to think of. What else you would have access to in Germany? I don't know. I can't think what else they would have in Germany.
Right,
but still, they would be eating meat. Right. All you need is just one aquatic mammal.
Right.
And then you're back in business. I guarantee that leave it to us to come around with some kind of workaround for whatever we're supposed to be doing.
The thing is, this whole sacrifice thing, this giving up something, it's all optional.
Right.
There's nothing, you don't have to do it.
Right.
There's nothing. So why do it?
Why cheat it?
Why cheat it?
Right. Even the monks. I think we still do that kind of stuff, though.
Well, we do.
And I was trying to think of a good example of that, where there's, there's a rule, but then you have a workaround for it.
Oh yeah, I think the term loophole.
Well, absolutely.
You're about to do your taxes,
right? I'm sure we all do that, where we justify. Oh well, this is so.
Oh yeah, that's totally taxable.
Yeah, that's total tax deductible. Or they don't care about that.
Speaking of which, have we considered that this is a hobby, in which this is a loss?
Oh, you mean we should incorporate and make this a loss?
Well, I don't know. Do we even have to incorporate? This is just a hobby.
Can you take a hobby loss?
There's such thing as hobby loss.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's such thing as hobby loss.
Maybe we should do that because we lose money every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
not lose money. We pay money to do something that we enjoy, but it doesn't make us.
It might be the real deal is that we're supposed to be trying to make money, which we are, but we're supposed to really be trying to make money,
right?
And we're supposed to at least make money at least once during the year.
We have made money at least once during a year, not this year.
Right. We brought in some income, but we didn't claim any of it.
No.
Because we didn't claim the loss.
So monks were trying to get around Lent, and Germans were trying to get around Lent.
And then we're able to get mouth pockets.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, why would you do that? I mean, it just seemed odd that you would come up with something that complicated for something that's not. Maybe for the monks it was voluntary. I mean, was mandatory.
Oh, I imagine it was mandatory for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they're coming up with all kinds of ways to.
Right. So someone comes and inspects. What are you eating here? Maltoshen.
Right.
Oh, yeah, Maltoshen. Yeah. What's in the Maltoshen? Cheese.
Yeah. Right. Other stuff. Other ingredients.
Beaver.
Man, I encourage you in your Lent this year. That's great.
Oh, well, thanks. Thanks.
Does your family do it also?
No, I'm the only one.
Yeah. And you don't come with any workaround for you, not put Splenda?
You know.
That would be the workaround, right?
Bunny asked me that.
Yeah.
She goes, now, is it any kind of sweetener or just sugar?
Right.
And I had to pause. I'm like,
right.
No, I'm not going to do any sweetener. Because I just.
No sweeteners.
No sweetener.
Huh.
Because I do prefer sugar over Splenda. Splenda wouldn't be the same, but really it's not sugar and it doesn't taste the same, but really is that I'm just going to drink some bitter coffee for 40 days.
You're going to be honest about this.
I'm going to try. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Ask me in a couple days.
Hey, and that's interesting. I have never done that. Christy does it. My wife does it.
What does she do?
She'll pick something every year to give up.
No kidding.
She's picked something this year, but I forget what it was.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I've done, there's people at work that I've heard they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like people give up soft drinks or.
Right.
I think that's a tough one for most people. Or they'll give up soft drinks or coffee or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Coffee?
Yeah.
That'd be suffering.
Would you give up coffee?
No. No, because part of the reason I'm doing it is really just as a reminder. But I'm really just doing it doing things as a reminder.
So you will be able to have sweetener in your coffee again on Easter morning?
Well, so that goes to Holy Thursday.
After Easter?
No.
Oh, before Easter. Okay.
Yeah, Holy Thursday is when
Good Friday.
is the end of Lent. Right?
Okay. So you can drink coffee on Good Friday.
Good Friday, I can put sweetener back in my coffee.
Sweetener back.
But maybe
why it's not Easter that's end of Lent?
That's a good question. I don't know what brings us up. Why doesn't it bring us up to
Resurrection Sunday?
You'd think you would wait until Resurrection Sunday before you get back on it.
Well, that's the other interesting thing. There's another reason, and I don't know how married I am to this reason, but the other thing I've always thought is that we're on this side of the cross. It's like we don't have to give up anything. And I understand again why people do it. This is my thoughts again. Is that we're on the redeemed side of the cross, so that it would be more of a celebration. To me, it would make more sense to do more than less.
Well,
but again, if you're coming from the standpoint of memorial or reminding, I understand. But
we should conceivably be celebrating all year round. Right.
Yeah. So that would be the other thing that's kind of in the back of my mind about it.
We probably don't do that good either.
I don't think we do.
I'm
not good at a party anyway.
Oh yeah. So what's your MO at a party?
I'm usually off to the side. I'm much better, I think, one-on-one.
Yeah.
I either have to be the complete center of attention, or I have to be like just one-on-one. But I can't just like mingle at a party. As of
these days, I don't mind mingling, but I can't hear a thing.
Really?
Oh yeah. I can't hear.
Physically can't hear.
I physically can't hear anymore. It's when there's a lot of background noise.
Right.
It just drowns out the person right in front of me talking. It's a struggle.
I think I've stood at edge of parties with you and talked before.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Because I can hear you. I can hear people off on the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm better off at a party just talking. But I think I would like to be the kind of person that could celebrate more than I do. But I'm not a good party person.
I think just being there is celebrating.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Your presence.
Yeah.
Your presence. It's good enough.
Okay.
You don't even out there dancing and making a fuss. You're just there.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Well, man, I think you brought us a good topic today.
You like this?
Yeah.
Well, it is Lent, so for those of you that are celebrate Lent, I thought this was a fun, that don't sound right type of story that goes along with that. And if you don't celebrate Lent, that's fine too. You get a peek into what different people think about this thing. Because, I mean, I imagine most people have heard of it.
Yeah.
And maybe not even know what it is.
Yeah, or they probably heard the expression giving it up for Lent.
Giving it up for Lent, right?
Yeah. So, all right, well, it doesn't sound right, but you have come to the end of another That Don't Sound Right.
Hey, before we close, we want to thank everyone for listening. If this is your first time and enjoyed the conversation, would you consider hitting the subscribe button on the platform you listen with? Also, if you're a longtime listener, go out there and give us a rating, leave us a review so others can easily find us and join the conversation.
All right, That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR Podcast in conjunction with Campbell City Studios. Before I go, I want to mention once again our advertiser, Wonderfully Made Designs, small business, specializing in custom-made T-shirts, decals, and contact Casey on Facebook at Wonderfully Made Designs 139.14.
The numbers matter, and we should be getting our order of window decals any day now.
That's great. Thanks, Casey.
Yeah.
Use code TDSR10 for 10% off your first purchase. All right. So I am your co-host and sound engineer, Cecil. Peter is your other host and web designer. Camille is your barista. Emily does our graphic design. Ella does our Instagram. Giorgio tests our merchandise. Brent is our international brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is
Scott.
So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.